History was made when South Africa's rugby team beat England to lift the Webb Ellis Cup in Yokohama, Japan. This is not the first time the Springboks have won the Rugby World Cup. They have done it twice before, in 1995 and 2007. But what is significant is that this time the man who lifted the trophy is Siya Kolisi, first black captain of the South African rugby team. If there is one person who would have been most excited with this outcome, it would have been Nelson Mandela, the former president of South Africa. Nelson Mandela was in prison fighting for the country's independence. He helped the country through many difficult times, but in 1994, something extraordinary happened. Rugby. Apartheid had ended and Mandela had just won the first election in which blacks had the right to vote. He assumed the presidency of a country deeply divided. Large sections of blacks, who had been dominated politically, socially and economically for decades, bade for revenge. The statesman that Mandela was, he understood the implications. A rainbow nation, he realized, was the only way forward to ensure prosperity in South Africa. He not only forgave those who imprisoned him for over 26 years but also wanted his followers to do the same. They wanted to dismantle any institutions that reminded them of apartheid and white dominance. The Springboks were one such symbol. Prior to 1995, rugby was a game that was played predominantly by Afrikaners, the descendants of Dutch, German and French settlers. It was their pride. Blacks preferred football. In fact, such was their hatred for rugby that they went to see the game only to support the team that played opposite South Africa. When efforts were made to drop the Springboks name and its colors after he came to power, Mandela intervened to stop the move. He argued that taking away things that were dear to Afrikaners' hearts would only increase their insecurity and come in the way of building a rainbow nation. He did not stop at that. When he learned that South Africa, for the first time, was hosting the Rugby World Cup in 1995, he came up with an audacious idea: use rugby to unite South Africa. How he pulled it off became the subject of a book, Playing the Enemy, by John Carlin, which was later made into the movie Invictus by Clint Eastwood. Mandela's colleagues thought the idea was crazy, but such was his stature that they barely murmured their misgivings. He understood the game better and built a lasting friendship with the then captain of the Springboks, Francois Pienaar. He broke the wall between the team and the blacks. He openly supported the team and sent a clear message that the Springboks should have the support of not just whites but all South Africans. World Cup triumph. That the team played well in the World Cup helped, as interest in the game spread across black communities. When the Springboks won the finals against New Zealand and celebrations broke out across South Africa, it was clear that Mandela had won. Blacks stormed the streets celebrating the victory. Attired in the Springbok colours and cap, Mandela was beaming as he presented the trophy to Pienaar. That day the Springboks stopped being the property of Afrikaners and became South Africa's pride. In 1995, there was just one black player in the team. Today there are many, including Captain Siya Kolisi. The Bear. These days you find people in bars or pubs having a beer and enjoying a rugby game.